gamer. I think that every adult in their early to mid 20s who self-identifies as a nerd is going to relate to what I'm about to explain. So let me paint a picture for you. Let's say you're 16 years old. You just got your first part-time job, so you got a little bit of money. And you live at home, so you don't got no bills. As a young person with nerdy interests and a little bit of expendable income, what do you think you spend that money on? Very superfluous things. And what superfluous things really entice a young nerd? You know, it's collectibles and memorabilia from the various things they're obsessed with. Obviously, the main things being action figures, statues, Funko Pops. This, of course, is something I experienced. My first job was at Francesca's, and I actually didn't spend my first check on figures. I spent my first check on a PlayStation VR. My second check, I bought action figures, and we'll get into those later. But, of course, like I said, this is what happened to me. I want to add some more context to this to see if you can relate to this even further. The reason I was so drawn to immediately buy collectibles as a teenager is because as a child, I was fortunate enough to have the kind of childhood where you go on a family grocery store trip, you're walking past the toy aisle, your mom sees you eyeing everything, and you're allowed to go pick one. And man, I swear, I had an amazing action figure collection. I had a massive storage bin that was like the size of a bathtub. It was full to the brim with toys. I had a crazy collection. I had Ninja Turtles, the 2003 animated show figures. I had all those and I loved them. I had the Ninja Turtles sewer lair.
Turtle sewer lair with Battle Arena, where only you can train the turtles. Pump it up, Neo!
I swear on my life, I cherished that thing, and I held on to it for years. I only got rid of that thing because I physically had to, because of my living situation at the time. If I didn't have to get rid of that thing, I would still have it to this day. And one day I'll get it back, but I had all the figures. I had all 4 turtles. I had a Foot Clan soldier. And some of these figures I do still have, so we'll get into that. But yeah, in this bin, man, the magical toy bin. And please let me know if you can relate to this. This is my main goal of making this video. I want to know how many other people experienced this. The epic childhood toy bin that was full with Transformers from the Michael Bay Transformers movies. I specifically remember the Bumblebee one being really cool. Marvel action figures. Tons of Spider-Man action figures, original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man figures, awesome stuff. Dude, and the Star Wars figures. Tons of Star Wars figures. I believe it's Hasbro, the 3-inch Star Wars figures. I had all of them. The General Grievous one was my most favorite because he came with spare arms where you could split them, so he had 4. And here's another thing to my fellow collectors out there. Did you ever have a figure as a child that you just viewed it as a regular toy, but now that you're old, you look back and you're like, dude, I had something rare. There's a handful of figures that I had that are like sought out figures now. And it was Mega Man X. I had the full Power Armor Mega Man X figure that I got from some kind of like donation sale at my elementary school. And I don't know where that is. Probably sold it at a yard sale. A lot of my figures got donated or sold at yard sales. I also had all of the Sonic X figures. I had the Sonic, Shadow, Knuckles, and Tails. And they all had the Chaos Emeralds. I remember playing with those so vividly. I still have one of them, but I'll show you that later. What else? Oh, I had the Mortal Kombat Deception, Sub-Zero, and Scorpion action figures. I had both. And I distinctly remember breaking the Scorpion figure. Very tragic. His leg broke off, but it was my fault. Oh, I had a bunch of wrestling figures for some reason. I never watched wrestling a day in my life, but I loved the figures. And I had a wrestling mat that I used with my other characters. Though that was the beginning of my lore as a figure collector, was being enabled as a child to have this crazy awesome figure collection. Now, here's the other core memory I want to bring back to my fellow nerds and collectors. The day of the reckoning. The day when you turn 13 or maybe even younger. But for me, I believe it was like the range from 11 to 13. I knew I still liked action figures, but I didn't play with them anymore, right? Like as a kid, I was in my bedroom making up crazy lore. Anyway, the day of reckoning happens. When you look at your mom and you say, Mom, I think I want to get rid of my toys.
I don't want to play with you anymore.
And then you grow to regret that day because guess what? I was in a Star Wars phase on that day. And that was one of the... Don't remind me, okay? I distinctly remember cleaning out that entire massive container, and I had one drawer in my entertainment center that I left with my toys. And I kept these stupid 3-inch Hasbro Star Wars figures that sucked. I had Kit Fisto. I kept Kit Fisto, and I didn't keep my rare Sonic figures. If I could go back in time, just know I would have those figures. I'm not kidding. I'm traumatized to this day about my memories of the amazing figures I used to have, man. So please let me know, what kind of phase were you in when you purged your toys? And do you still have any? Let me know. Is there figures that you used to have that you wish you could get back because your stupid child self got rid of them? I know there's got to be other stories like that out there, so please let me know. Here's the next thing. You guys all know where this is headed, right? We're adults now. Like I said, my first foray into buying action figures was with my first job. And I purchased the Revoltech Metal Gear Solid 5 Venom Snake and the Metal Gear Solid Snake. And those figures are sick. Here's something I think is funny and relevant today, along with those legit Revoltech. Now, those are the 3-inch figures. They were cheaper. I think they were $50 each, or maybe 35. I don't know. But those are real Revoltech figures that I bought. What I didn't know was that I bought the Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker Big Boss, and that was actually a knockoff. And I had no idea, because I'm pretty sure that figure is like $100 something, and I think I paid $35 for it. So definitely a knockoff. And with the experience I have now, let's just say I'm aware of the knockoffs now, but things are a lot better. All things considered, though, for a knockoff, the articulation is kind of ass. I have to shove paper in one of the hands so that it doesn't fall out, and his bandana broke off like immediately after I pulled it out of the box. But the paint application on it is really good, and the accessories it came with were awesome. It still has the 25th anniversary cardboard box, which is sick. But now, the main figures I've actually purchased as an adult after that, for one, there was SH Figure Arts Super Saiyan Goku. I feel like everybody who wants to own SH Figure Arts probably has that figure. It's like the most common SH Figure Arts Dragon Ball figure. You see it all the time at Target. And, you know, I've been tempted to buy other SH Figure Arts. I kind of wanted the Trunks one because I've seen that at Target. And also, I don't know if I'm going to cave yet. I haven't decided, but I kind of want the Momo from Dan to Dan. But I don't know. It just doesn't... I don't know. This isn't a figure review. But on the point I made before about the knockoffs, another modern adult action figure purchase I made is the CT Toys Moon Knight Revoltech knockoff. What can I say, bro? That figure is fire. I think the knockoff is amazing. The only issue with mine is that the cape guard kind of comes off easily, but you pose them and you can't even notice. The articulation is great. Oh, also, when I bought this, the hand pegs were actually in reverse. The part of the peg that's supposed to go in the forearm was going into the hand, so the hands would not change. Like, I couldn't swap the hands, so I had to do some surgery. And I actually have a blood stain on my Moon Knight figure because I, like, cut under my thumb trying to fix this hand peg. And as soon as that happened, the only thing I could think of was the quote from Marvel Rivals.
The worst part about white costumes? The bloodstains. Am I right?
There's a major chunk of my action figure collection that I haven't spoken on, and that's my Sonic figures. Sonic is the only character that I have a dedicated shelf to in my collection. I've spent the most money buying new figures for Sonic the Hedgehog. I couldn't be happier, you know what I'm saying? I got my childhood toys. I have the Sonic X, Sonic. Jazzwares made the Sonic and the Black Knight figure, which I do still have. Unfortunately, I lost his sword. I have a very vivid core memory of losing it under my grandparents' fridge, and my grandpa just looking me dead in the face saying, like, if you're not getting that, I'm not getting it. And then I never got it. He didn't hold the sword very well anyway, so. Also, that figure is ass. The Jazzwares Sonic figures had the worst articulation of all time. And while I'm talking about Sonic figure articulation, the movie figures, they're perfect. The movie Sonic the Hedgehog figures are actually the best Sonic figures that exist, period. I also have all 7 Chaos Emeralds, which is pretty sick. I have learned after the fact that one of the Chaos Emeralds, the dark blue one, was rare to find for a while. It just recently got reissued, I believe. But I got all 7 in the Sonic Advent Calendar, which I think was pretty sweet. And I like that Advent Calendar a lot, actually. So yeah, that is my chronology of my collection purchases as an adult. The real reason I made this video is because I want to know, like, did anybody else have this exact same lineage that I've explained here? Because I feel like it has to be common, right? So yeah, if you're like me and you've gotten into all this figure stuff, please let me know. Share with me your figures you wish you would have never got rid of. Let me know what phase you were in when you got rid of a bunch of action figures, and let me know what your first big collectible purchase was as an adult. I think that's about it. So thank you for watching. Appreciate you. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.